Coming off a terrific defensive performance in a win in Montreal on Easter Sunday, the Devils allowed just 18 shots. Jacob Markstrom picked up the win. You had hoped that there'd be some carryover, Chico Resch, but the Devils weren't nearly as sharp in certain key moments of this game as they lose at home to Philadelphia 5-1.
Well, you just nailed it, Matty. It wasn't like a long period where they were getting run over the whole period. I mean, they gave up two quick ones. One was a breakdown, a one-timer by Zegras, and that was just okay. Then a tip. Now it's 2-0. Then the Devils took over. Couldn't score. They got one goal. But then after that, Matt, they continued to make those little mistakes. And that's why when a team plays like they did in Montreal, don't think, just that if we come mentally ready to do that, it's going to happen every night. It doesn't, and a lot of it has to do with the other team. A lot of it has to do with breaks and puck luck, and so it didn't come together tonight like it did Sunday night in Montreal.
No, and as you mentioned, it was an early thrust by Philadelphia that staked them to a 2-0 lead. In fact, on their second shot of the game, there was that breakdown and a Flyers lead. Angled pass for Owen Tippett, their leading goal scorer with 28 skates behind the net. Hands it off. Here's a pass and an easy goal by Trevor Zegras. Breakdown on the Devils' part. I'm not sure why Jonas Siegenthaler was down on the ice, but he had no chance. Jacob Markstrom had no chance. And less than 2 minutes in, it's 1-0. Zegras with his 24th goal of the season. Travis Sanheim and Tippett with the assists, and it was a 1-0 lead a minute 56 in, and Siegenthaler was down because he was kind of left all alone trying to defend in front. He was trying to block a pass, but it didn't happen.
He didn't see what was happening behind him. I don't know if he thought the Zegras was tighter to the crease, but he kind of went back into Markstrom, not realizing, Zegras is out about 10, 12 feet, and so when the pass came to Zegras, and I know Marky's saying, okay, I got this shooter, I know Jonas has the back door, he's going to help me there, but unfortunately for Jonas, he lost his check, and it was an easy first goal for the Flyers.
So Philadelphia jumps out in front 1-0, and then at 2:21, Jack Hughes, so just 26 seconds later, Jack Hughes was called for a trip. Philadelphia goes to work on its power play. So they scored one goal on their first two shots. They scored 2 goals on 4 shots. Flyers across the line. Martone centers. They score. Porter Martone finds Zegras in front. Zegras with 2 goals and 3:38 to start the game. And the Devils down 2-0. Kind of a shocking beginning for the New Jersey Devils. Zegras with his 25th. Porter Martone, that big rookie prospect for Philadelphia, playing in his 5th game since leaving Michigan State after having a brilliant year, his only year with the Spartans. At any rate, he picks up the primary. Jamie Drysdale the secondary, and Philadelphia's got a 2-0 lead.
Well, Martone's on the right side. He throws it into just about the low hash mark, and Zegras tips it, and I watched. It just went past the toe of Markstrom on the far side, and he didn't know where the deflection was going to headed, but unfortunately it was headed into the net, and that made it 2-0.
This was headed into the net as well. It turned out to be the 5th shot of the period for Philadelphia. They had the first 5, but former Devil Luke Glendening was turned back by Markstrom. Highly regarded. Here comes Philly across the line again, in front for a tip, and a save made by Markstrom. Well, hey, that was Luke Glendening. Could you imagine? Yeah, he didn't score for the Devils. He has scored a goal in his limited time with Philadelphia. So that would have been a sweet moment for Luke Glendening, who was claimed on waivers by Philadelphia. But again, the Flyers attacking the Devils, it stayed 2-0, but you thought, well, this might be a long night.
Yeah, well, you thought it can't be because of what we've seen recently with the Devils. They haven't been that team. But unfortunately tonight, Matty, they did revert back to some of what you're talking about, and that ends up costing them, really.
But after being outshot 5-0 and outscored 2-0 to start the period, the Devils would start to gain control. They would have 10 shots on net before the period came to an end. One was not credited as a shot. Jack Hughes hit the post. But then Dougie Hamilton had a chance. Shimo Nemitz picks it off and banks one up ahead to Jack Hughes. 3-on-2 across the line. Jack between the circles with a shot that's deflected to the corner. Picked up by Brett. Gets it to Jack. Fires it to Hamilton with a drive. Save made by Vladar. Devils coming on. Dan Vladar, though, now 5-0-0 lifetime against the New Jersey Devils. Had a very good night in goal.
Speaking of coming on, boy, he got better and better as the game went on. And, you know, he's been a key player for the Flyers. There's been a lot of them, but tonight, and what is he, 5-0 now against New Jersey?
5-0.
Yeah, so, you know, he's also feeling good when he sees that Devil jersey coming at him, and he looked really terrific tonight.
But he did not get his second career shutout against the New Jersey Devils because the Devils kept at it, and it's been a career year goal-wise for Cody Glass. He continues that hot hand. Flyers haven't been able to do much of anything. Here's Siegenthaler at the left point for Hamanaho. Fans as he's challenged. Puck comes to Siegenthaler with a drive. He scores! The Devils get a break. The puck bounces off of Cody Glass. I think, if not, it's Siegenthaler's goal, his first of the season. He leads the fist bump parade, and the Devils are on the board. Well, Jonas Siegenthaler hadn't scored since New Year's Eve of 2024 against Anaheim. 92 games later, he was still looking for a goal, and so I don't blame him because the puck was deflected. It bounced around. It went off of, finally, Vladar's shoulder and in, so he thought, all right, it's mine. Cody Glass was there. He said, yeah, it's yours.
But he was in the spotlight for a few moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Manny? Let's give him that.
Because
right?
as they say, upon further review, the goal was credited to Cody Glass at 12-12, his 18th goal of the season. Siegenthaler and Hamanaho with the assists, and it was 2-1 after one. So, all right, Devils are going to come out. They've regained control. They're going to maybe take control of this game. 31 seconds in, too many men on the ice. Penalty called against Philadelphia. Matvei Michkov served it, but the Devils did not score. 15 seconds after the power play was over, Philadelphia extended the game to 3. Out is serving that bench minor for too many men on the ice. Hamanaho, as the power play comes to an end, hands the puck off. Hamilton with a blast. Blocker down by Vladar, and now it's clear. It's a 2-on-1 for Philadelphia. Forster and Tippett. Forster in with a shot. He scores. 5-hole goal at 2:46. 12th of the season for Forster. It was 3-1. We'll talk about that and a few more highlights plus reaction from the room, but let's hear from the head coach.
As a team in the NHL, so you spot them a lead. It's going to be tough. With that said, I thought we dominated the first period from that point on. We had a number of grade A scoring opportunities. I think, they let up a little bit, I would say, after they got the quick lead. And then we really pushed. Loved everything about our first period from basically about the second goal against on. But obviously gets, and they get the third one quick again. And now it's tough, Now you have their attention. They basically didn't even try to score much from there. Certainly since after the fourth one, and it was really hard to generate after that.
Is it disappointing to kind of, obviously results, aside, just to sort of see that, knowing that there are only so few games left, and you want to put on a good performance, you want to play well going down those finals?
Well, I don't think we played poorly. I mean, we started, it's a 3-on-3 rush into our zone, at the start of the game. It should be pretty straightforward. In fact, it starts as a 1 versus 3, and they find their way through, and they put one in, and then, our least penalized player, Jack, gets an unlucky penalty against, and they drive to the net and put one in. But the first period from there was, it was pretty good. And then there's another team on the ice that, like I just said, has been the best defensive team in the NHL. You've now spotted them a 3-goal lead this early in the second period. It's going to be tough sledding from there, and it was. So, we got to find ways to generate more in those circumstances, but everybody in the league's been struggling to do it against them, so you got to give them a little bit of credit in that sense. But it's the free goals against. You cannot win with any sort of regularity. We didn't make any of those mistakes in Montreal the other night, not once. And, today we did, and they made us pay.
Coach, you guys went 0 for 3 on the power play tonight. What can you say about the Flyers' penalty kill ability and their physicality all game long?
No, I didn't think it was a physical game by any means, but they checked very well, and that it goes into the penalty kill as well. Like I said, they've been a very good defensive team all season, but certainly since the Olympic break, and they're on a pretty great run as a result. And that's going to carry over to their penalty kill as well.
Sheldon, it looks like per the scoreboard, you guys are officially eliminated as of tonight. Is it difficult to analyze how you guys got here, reflecting on the season?
I don't know if it's that difficult. I mean, I had an Olympic break to process a lot of different things, and a pretty good idea of kind of where we're at and where things went. But it's difficult. It's embarrassing. I don't like it. I mean, I've coached for 20 years. It's the first time I won't be participating in the playoffs at any level. So it's not fun. I've never been in a situation like this, but we've earned this. So that's just it is what it is. So we'll focus on the games that are ahead and continuing to try to get the vibes of our team up. I think we've done a pretty good job of that. Since coming back from the Olympic break, we've bounced back very quickly and played a lot of good hockey, and 4 games left here in quick succession. So we'll look to hopefully finish with a better feeling in terms of our performance. But the overall result of not participating in the playoffs is going to sting for a long time.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Yeah, thanks.
And that does sum it up. Not only his comments tonight, but the way the season has been. Disappointment throughout, and just work to be done next year.
And the sting is a good description by him. It does sting. And some of the things that crept back in tonight's game has plagued them. I mean, only scoring 1 goal, 0 for 3 on the power play. And, Matty, they didn't really get the power play going where you're thinking, they're gonna score. You know what I mean? That just wasn't clicking either. And then, as he said, defensively, they weren't not even nearly as sharp as they were in Montreal, but that's going to happen. But I will still say, if they had scored, if Brad had scored on the breakaway, or Jack Hughes had scored, if you scored 2-3 goals, it just changes everything. The crowd, the confidence on the bench, and the Devils couldn't get to 2 tonight, and we've seen that in the past, Manny. That's a killer.
Yep, you've often said it. You got to get to 3. That gives you the best shot. More than that, of course, is a bonus, but 3 is the number you got to reach to have a chance to win. So Forster scores shortly after the Devils' early power play in the second comes to an end, and it's 3-1, 2:46 in. And then came one of those moments. You just talked about it. Jesper Bratt has a chance on one end, but at the other end, it was Philadelphia tacking on a big-time goal. Here's a pass up ahead. It's Bratt in on a breakaway. He moves it backhand wide. And now here comes Philadelphia on a 3-on-2. Forster from Nichkov to Zegras in front. They score. The pass went off a stick, and it floated right to Foster. So Zegras with 2 tonight, Forster with 2 tonight, and it's 4-1. And upon further review, the play of the game brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner, showed that Jesper Bratt did have it go off of the crossbar, and then down the other way, it's put home.
And that's inches. And the crossbar, and then Markey opened up the 5-hole a little bit more than he normally does. But I don't know why. I mean, it was still a good shot. But that swing of 2 goals, Matty, is that was kind of the turning point.
Yep, because less than 5 minutes into the second, the Devils were down by 3. They never recovered. They did have a power play, and Timo Meier was stopped twice, point blank, and then on the follow-up. So another critical moment, but that inability to score on the backhand breakaway and then have Philadelphia score on the other way was the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. Nick Seeler edited an empty net in the third. Philadelphia wins by a score of 5-1. Let's hear what the captain had to say.
Obviously, just a tough performance, a tough day, and I'm sure that you would have maybe expected more from you guys as a team to sort of come out here.
Yeah, I think we started didn't well at all, and if you're down 2-0 that quick, it's never a good start. And after that, I think we played a little better, but made a couple of mistakes, ended up the back of our net, and then they packed it in pretty good, and we couldn't answer back.
And just sort of like, is it sort of a culmination of just everything that's sort of gone on in the last couple hours, right? Like just that dig-in part, right? Like.
Yeah, it was not a good game at all, and yeah, we should have definitely be more ready to play. That would have helped us in that game, and I think after those 2 goals we started to play and had our chances and didn't score on them, and after in the second, yeah, the game just got away from us and we couldn't get the momentum back, and like I said, they packed it up back there pretty good, and we had a tough time to find solutions.
Nico, just your thoughts on, it looks like you guys will be eliminated in a few minutes after the Senators win. Just your thoughts on being eliminated at this point.
My thoughts? Mm-hmm. Well, obviously disappointed.
Short and sweet from the captain. Yes, Ottawa did win tonight. Combine that with the Devils' loss in regulation, and the Devils are eliminated from the playoffs. And, you know, players are disappointed.
Absolutely.
And they realize they have some accountability for the result of Tom Fitzgerald losing his job. But they have an amazing capacity to put all that behind them when the game starts. It's not that they didn't want to win one for Tom per se. No. They wanted to win for themselves. Yes. It just makes a couple of tough days for the Devils players in the organization.
Absolutely, Matty. And I don't think any player just wants to lose. Like, even the teams that aren't winning, like poor Columbus, I don't know if they're going to lose tonight, but they want to win. Detroit wants to win. Teams want to win. I've been there. But if you don't get the breaks at the right time or execute whatever or get a lucky bounce, like tonight, if Jesper Bratt scores, and I'm not just putting it on him, I'm telling you this game goes in a different direction. But when you keep missing your chances and then the other team gets this lucky goal, it's just so demoralizing. So, no, you could keep asking the players inside stuff about how they're feeling. They come ready to play. They're hoping that they get some breaks early that also takes them to another level, because that's what goal scoring does. It takes your emotions to another level, whether you're the goalie, whatever. And they just weren't able to do that tonight. And we look at that period of time where they really sagged, Matty. It was the lack of scoring when they had scoring chances but couldn't put it in the net, and they lost. They didn't get the 3 goals, and they lost by a goal or 2.
As the Devils couldn't get the crowd ignited. Goal scoring gets the crowd ignited.
Yes.
Devils had just the Cody Glass goal, and then those 2 early ones in the second changed things around. Columbus came back and won that game against Detroit. Adam Fantilli scored with 17 seconds left, and then Zach Werenski was able to come up with the shootout winner. And Columbus.
Wow.
The Rick Bowness bounce.
Well, I've cheered for them because Bones is one of the best people in hockey, and they had lost a few after they went on that great run. They had some injuries, you know. Damon Severson was one. Big loss there, but they came back and won. Detroit is a mystery, though, right? We're going to see them one more time Saturday night. You want to listen to that game because Maddie and I are really going to dig deep on what's going on there. We know what's going on here in New Jersey, but like there, wow, how can they find ways to lose? You know,
at home.
At home too. Yeah, I know. And so I can't imagine the mindset in the Detroit dressing room now after losing tonight when it looked like they were going to win, but.
No one has ever measured a lower dauber.
No.
The dauber is down in Detroit.
It is D for D, dauber down. And you know what? I don't know if they will rebound, but they're in such a race. If you lose, Maddie, and you go home in the summer and you'll try to rationalize it and this and that, but I got to tell you, the games they've lost and the way they've lost them, that's pretty devastating, and that's got to be some soul-searching. And they tried to make, Patrick Kane. They got Patrick Kane. That's the guy you don't expect to make a huge mistake down the stretch, right? At least they could have got a point, and he did. And then tonight, I don't know what happened, why they got scored on late. But, you can just say, well, it just happens. Well, no. They're going to have to look, too, just like the Devils, and say, what is it that needs to change before next season starts?
A team that once was in the playoffs with great regularity, 25 straight years.
Yes.
Now it's, been 9 if they don't make the playoffs this year?
Yes.
Well, anyway, we sing no sad songs for Detroit. We will see them on Saturday. Before we say goodbye, let's hear and he's always got some thoughtful comments, hear what Connor Brown had to say.
Bernie, we've talked throughout the season about certain moments and just sort of, rising to challenge, rising to moments. Obviously, the tough news yesterday, wanting to sort of come out and set maybe a bit of a tone for the last couple games of the season. How disappointed are you in sort of what unfolded here tonight? Maybe that's too much.
No, it's incredibly disappointing. Not just about the night, but how the season's gone. Fitzy's a guy that means a lot to a lot of us in this room, and he's the guy that cares about his players, about his staff. It's not easy, when the president gets let go, and he's cultivated a really good, caring family environment in here, and it's a big challenge today, against a team that's really hungry getting in the playoffs, and we start with just terribly with a poor change and a goal against like that on the second shift. So, frustrating.
What do you sort of hope that a moment, like we've talked about moments throughout the season, like a moment like this can, that you want to see, like what the progression can be from a moment like this?
Well, listen, these are, I think we've got 4 games left. At this point, it looks like we're not going to be able to, to get in, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of evaluation going on. A lot of that's probably already done. It's it's important to just be a professional and put a good product on for the fans, and have some fun doing it. I know that I'll speak for myself, take accountability. That wasn't very easy for me to do today. To go out there and have some fun on a a heavy day like this. We'll flush it, and we'll be better than the next 4 here.
Connor Brown, and the next 4 will start Thursday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And, hey, let's see. It's not going to matter in terms of what the Devils do. The regular season will end next Tuesday, but let's have some fun for the Final 4.
Exactly. I'm glad we're not playing Calgary and Vancouver. No offense to those cities, but they're not very good teams. But you know what? Pittsburgh's still going to be interesting. Come out and see what they're all about. You don't have a lot of time to see some of those players. Tang's another guy you're not going to see very long. So come out, enjoy that. And so the Devils want to do that. And then, of course, the final home game's always special with fan appreciation night and everything. So we got 2 good home games that I think the fans will enjoy, even though we know win or lose, they're not getting in the playoffs. But he said, let's be professional, and that's good. And when you have fun, Maddie, he said, we just go out and have fun. The fun comes after you score. The fun doesn't come before you score. No, right? Because you might not score. Like tonight was not fun. But, I just hope they can get 6, 7 against Pittsburgh. I'm just hoping.
From your lips.
Let's see what it.
Let's see if they can do that. That will be Thursday. It's a game that you'll hear here on the Devils Hockey Network.